It is National Voter Registration Day, and we are talking with the state's top election official leading up to November tonight. 13 on Your Side political reporter Josh Alburtus sat down with Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson to talk about the importance of today as well as ongoing concerns over the security of elections. Josh.
Well, Juliet, it may be voter registration day, but there was a lot else in that discussion today. Benson has been very vocal in asserting her belief that elections are secure amid concerns, even as her office has faced some lawsuits over the last few months over what some have alleged are things like bloated voter rolls that the state needs to get in check to comply with the law. We chatted with her about that and much more.
Even in a moment like this, and it's certainly going to get a lot noisier in Michigan over these next 7 weeks, that we take incredible pride in the safety, the accuracy, and the security of our elections, and we want voters to share in that pride.
I want to get your full perspective on that. Why is that in your view, and what do you feel is in place in the system that makes it so?
There are many records, many security layers to ensure that only valid citizens are able to vote in our elections. And so we want people to know about that. We want people to be a part of the process. And National Voter Registration Day is a great way to celebrate that, to actually celebrate being registered to vote and ensuring everyone you know is registered as well.
And kind of those topics of the rolls and the certification of votes have really just sprung up over the last few years in importance anyway. You know, when you went there to Congress, you faced a question about the voter rolls. How do you respond to concerns about potentially bloated rolls?
I understand people's questions and concerns and welcome those questions. That's why I was happy to testify before the Congressional Committee and offer a glimpse into how in Michigan we went from being ranked 32nd in the country when I took office to now being ranked second in the country, doing a mailing to everyone who is registered to make sure everyone is still in their places, or if they have moved, we can use that mailing to remove ineligible voters. We also now do more frequent checks with the Social Security Administration and other places where if someone passes away, we get that information more frequently and can update our rolls.
Why does that take time?
Well, if someone has passed away, we can remove them right away. But if someone has moved or just hasn't voted in a few years, we, under federal law, have to wait for 2 federal cycles for them to not vote in order to legally be able to remove them from the rolls. However, once we identify someone that we believe has moved, we mark them as inactive. That means essentially they are inactive and would have to, if they choose to reactivate as voters, they'd have to show ID and actually prove that their residency is still where they registered to vote long ago. And so once someone's on the inactive list, they're essentially on a countdown. And unless they vote in the next 2 federal cycles, they are removed. And in Michigan, we have hundreds of thousands of people who are inactive.
You know, the personal side. When you talked to Congress, you told Congress about the threats and the intimidation against you and your family and your workers as well. You know, given all of this that is happening, you know, when you are such a public face of this, our elections are secure, our elections have integrity, when you're such a public face of it, does that ever weigh on you at all, the potential fear that maybe this intimidation never went away for you, but that it may grow like it seemingly did in 2020?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm human. I'm also a mom, and I have to prepare my son for what the impact of these threats could mean to our family, and not just to me, to our staff as well. So that's very real. And we're in an era both of misinformation and an era of political violence. And there's a direct link between that misinformation around our elections and violence and threats to our election officials. It is an unfortunate reality of our work today, but it is one that has emboldened many of us to be even more committed to doing our jobs with professionalism and with pride.
Thanks to political reporter Josh Alburtus. The case